Good morning. Good morning and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Cultural Coast, where the air is a little crisp this morning. It's got everybody a little more active. There's a little more buzz in the room. It's just a little cool, not quite as humid. We kept the doors closed because it was so damp when we got here, but I see the sun is shining now. The gray weather never lasts long here, does it? It's like, what a beautiful place we live. My God, so beautiful. So welcome. I'm Theresa and you are a bright light, a beautiful being, a divine incarnation, a shining light. I'm so happy and wonderful to be in your company. So great. All month long, we are living out loud as mystics. For what we're learning, what we're embodying is that everybody's a mystic. Everybody's a mystic. And so how can we be a mystic during this time of holy days? There's so many celebrations, holidays, cultural, religious, during the month of December. And what a beautiful way to celebrate all of them, by finding our inner mystic, by connecting with that inner spark. And so today we're looking at creativity, specifically creativity. Julia Cameron, in The Artist Way, wrote of God as the great creator, the great creator. And so we are learning to commune. That's why we come together every Sunday, right? Is to learn to commune with the one, to really feel that essence, that closeness all the time. It's the source of life itself. We are its substance. The source and substance, right? We are the substance. And that is the way of the mystic. Again, Julia Cameron writes, it's an experience of the mystical union that's needed for creativity. So when she's writing about creativity, she says it's the experience of a mystical union that's needed. She goes on to say creativity is God's gift to us, and using our creativity is our gift back to God. That's the reciprocal nature that we talk about all the time, you know, the giving and the receiving, that being in that. That's creativity. That's God. How exciting. So this morning we might have a new perspective on creativity with that. We have a real treat. We have Annie Williams and Jay Martin. I suspect many of you in this room and at home know who they are here, but I am going to read to you, and I failed to print this in a realistic size, in a realistic font, so bear with me as maybe Jim, you should hold that here. No. Annie has a master's of science, and prior to retiring from health and wellness career that spanned over 20 years, she became interested in energy medicine and sound as a healing modality that incorporates therapeutic touch and sacred sound. In the mid-1990s, she created Sacred Sound Harmonics, which includes an array of sound healing instruments, including crystal singing bowls. Annie leads sound meditation, sound circles, and sound healing workshops, as well as collaborates with other musicians, which we've seen her do here from many times, to provide and promote music as medicine. Annie states that with Sacred Sound, I travel with you to the outer reaches of your energetic being on the pure tone and vibration of your heart song. How beautiful. Together we create sacred sound and sacred space. We attune the body, mind, and spirit to the highest level of sound frequencies for the harmony of the whole being. We will be doing that this morning, so get ready. And before Annie came to Sarasota to share her gifts, she was in Dallas, and she shared her gifts there at the CSL in Dallas, too. So Jay Martin, many of you know Jay, and he exudes a playful enthusiasm, which, of course, if you know him, that's such a perfect description. I love that. Playful enthusiasm combined with an extraordinary physical skill to his personal yoga practice, as well as the classes, workshops, and trainings that he leads. Known for his heart and intelligence, two words that will come up frequently from me today. Jay communicates both the subtle and the technical aspects of the practice with a gifted ease that deeply resonates with others. He began practicing yoga in 1998 after successful careers as a professional musician and a ballet dancer with the Joffrey Ballet in New York and the Sarasota Ballet. While dancing, he discovered his talent for articulating and teaching complex dance moves. That talent transferred easily to yoga, and his students remain wowed by his ability to guide them safely into complex and advanced yoga poses. Presently, Jay instructs several yoga teacher trainings, and he leads workshops as well as retreats internationally. So we are just so blessed to have them here with us, and I'm excited that we're going to play and create something together. We're going to be opening our hearts and our minds, the gates, all those ways that we can otherwise close. Let us open to allow creativity to sweep through us here this morning. So let's join together in consciousness where we know life is created intentionally. Life is always creating, moving in as and through each one of us. Our thoughts are creative, and it's powerful when we intentionally align with that higher self, that inner self, that spark within each one of us that knows who we are and whose we are. Let us align right here, right now with that greater reality of who we are. And intentionally open heart and mind, setting the stage and creating the sacred space within ourselves and in this room, and without boundary outside the room through the internet. We create sacred space. That space that honors and recognizes our union with the one source. We call it God, spirit, energy, creative intelligence. It matters not. What I know for each one of us is we are indeed immersed in, surrounded by, brought here, now, by this light, this presence, for a reason. And so I affirm for myself and each one of us that we are completely open to that activity this day. And I recognize the expansion of life through the process of creativity for each one of us. And so it is. And now, my beloved.
I'm going to open up with a song from the Allman Brothers about opening up your heart, opening up. When you can't find the light that got you through a cloudy day, when the stars aren't shining bright, you feel like you lost your way, when the candlelights of home burn so very far away, you gotta let your soul shine, like my daddy used to say. He used to say, soul shine better than sunshine, better than moonshine, darn sure better than rain. You know, people don't mind, all feel this way sometimes. Gotta let your soul shine, shine through the break of day. Grew up thinking I had it made to make it on my own. But life can take the strongest man, make him feel so alone. Now sometimes I feel a cold wind blowing through my aching bones. Think back to what my daddy said, son, in this darkness before the dawn, let your soul shine better than sunshine, shine, darn sure better than rain. Hey, now people don't mind, we all get this way sometime. Gotta let your soul shine, shine through the break of day. Sometimes a man can feel this emptiness, like something has robbed him of his very soul. A woman too, she can feel this way. When your world turns cold, let your body take control. Let your soul shine, better than sunshine, it's better than moonshine, darn sure better than rain. Hey, now people don't mind, we all feel this way sometimes. Gotta let your soul shine, shine through the break of day. Gotta let your soul shine, shine through the break of day.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Rosario, a proud member of this fine spiritual organization. And in staying with our theme this month, I'm going to do a reading on spiritual mysticism. And I sit in silence often, so I've gotten to experience a lot of these sensations that I'm going to be reading to you about. So I want you to share this with me. Spiritual mysticism. In the realm of spiritual exploration, which we all do, there exists a tapestry of mystical sensations that weave through the fabric of our being. These ethereal experiences, like whispers from the universe, have the power to transport us beyond the boundaries of our physical existence. Within the depths of silence, we may feel a gentle tingling, an otherworldly vibration that resonates within our core. It is as if the unseen forces of the cosmos are delicately caressing our souls, reminding us of the interconnectedness of all things. In moments of deep contemplation, our senses may awaken to a heightened awareness. We may perceive the subtle dance of energy swirling and twirling in an intricate symphony of colors and patterns. It is a glimpse into the vast tapestry of the divine. A glimpse that ignites a sense of awe and wonder within us all. As we surrender to the mystical sensations, we may find ourselves enveloped in a profound sense of peace and serenity. It is a sacred stillness that transcends the noise and chaos of everyday life, allowing us to connect with the essence of our true selves and the divine presence that resides within us, within all of us. In these mystical moments, we may experience a deep sense of unity with all of creation. Boundaries dissolve, and we become one with the pulsating heartbeat of the universe. It is a reminder that we're not separate beings, but interconnected threads in the grand tapestry of existence. These mystical sensations serve as gentle reminders that there is more to this world than what meets the eye. They invite us to explore the depths of our own consciousness and to embrace the mystery of life. They beckon us to embark on a journey of self-discovery, where the boundaries between the physical and the spiritual blur and merge. In the realm of mystical sensations, we are invited to dance with the unknown, to embrace the unseen, and to surrender to the vastness of the divine. It is a sacred invitation to awaken our senses, to expand our perception, and to embark on a journey of spiritual transformation. Finally, may we embrace these mystical sensations with open hearts and open minds, for they hold the key to unlocking the profound beauty and wisdom that resides within us and in the world around us. Thank you. And so it is.
And now from the words of Ezrat Anyat Khan from The Mysticism of Sound in Music. Why is music called the divine art, while all other arts are not so called? We may certainly see God in all arts and in all sciences, but in music alone, we see God free from all forms and thought. Every thought, every word has its form. Sound alone is free from form. Every word, a poetry, forms a picture in our mind. Sound alone does not make any object appear before us. The mystery of sound is mysticism. The harmony of life is religion. The knowledge of vibration is metaphysics. And the analysis of atoms is science. Their harmonious grouping is art. The rhythm of form is poetry. And the rhythm of sound is music. This shows that music is the art of arts and the science of all sciences, and it contains the fountain of all knowledge within itself.
Thank you, my dears. Thank you. So beautiful. So beautiful. Wow. I don't want to talk. Shh, whisper. Oh, how beautiful. I'm going to deviate from my notes for a minute and just say how thrilled I am that we live in such a community, that we have so many people on the spiritual quest, and so many talented people, and so many artistic people, and this truly is just an absolutely amazing community in which we live in here in Sarasota, the greater area, and this collective here. I mean, it really, you guys just blow me away. It's just beautiful. And I will say too that I am extremely grateful that over the years of my practice that I've learned to trust my intuition in creating these Sunday mornings, because that is creative. That's my creativity, to see these pieces, and so I'm so happy that I've learned to do that. Last week, Last week, I was speaking from this book, Matthew Fox's book, The Coming of the Cosmic Christ, where he gives us 21 characteristics of a mystic. Now, we know that all of us are mystics, and all the mystics have told us that. There isn't anything unique or special they've practiced, or they've had revelation. But we all are mystics, right? So, I want to do 7 more today, so that we have these awarenesses that we can be conscious of bringing into the holy days, that we bring with us, you know. As we bring a hostess gift to a party, we bring this awareness, right? We bring the awareness of really who and what we are. And I'm going to do it in the context of several well-known mystics, or probably known to everybody in here, I would think. The first one being my favorite, St. Francis, who I took his name as my confirmation name. As a good little Catholic girl, I've got, like, you know, I don't know, 5 or 6 names to me, but Francis was my confirmation name. He was a sensitive soul, right? Sensitive soul, what you know about him, and his love for the earth and all creatures, all beings as the divine incarnate, right? Love incarnate. That was his work. So Matthew Fox tells us in here that the 7th quality of a mystic is that right brain living, that creativity, that pursuit of creativity, that softness about us, painting and art, and appreciating the aesthetics in life. It could even be gardening. I see some of our garden folks, you know, that kind of thing. You know, we know of the story of him rebuilding the old church, and he did these one-man shows, which are just delightful. I don't know if any of you know James Timon, but he reenacts Francis's work, and it's just beautiful. If you don't know him, come to me afterwards and I'll clue you in. Saint Bonaventure was a child during the time of Saint Francis, and Francis was known to have healed this child. So Bonaventure really studied him and wrote a lot about him during his lifetime. One just beautiful quote that I think gives the essence of who Francis was. He said, "Francis sought occasion to love God in everything." He sought occasion to love God. In everything beautiful, he saw him who is beauty himself. Yeah, that's just gorgeous, isn't it? Can we live our lives that way? Can we at least make it through the holidays with this idea before us? You know? Yeah, could we just do that? Another one of the Catholic saints is Hildegard, right? Hildegard of Bingen. Today's teachings around many of today's religious teachings are around left brain, patriarchal. And I wonder, you know, we see in history that move from the right brain, the mystic, the feminine, into the more patriarchal, right? I was at a funeral this week, and it was led by a Catholic deacon. I grew up Catholic, obviously, took the name. And he said, we're not to be happy here. And this is not heaven. And we will be happy when we reach heaven. My skin was crying. You know, I was just like, shake that off. Smudge myself when I mean, it was so contrary to what I live, what I know to be true. This can be heaven and it can be hell, and my choices have a heck of a lot to do with which one I'm going to experience. I experience love. I experience deep, deep joy, deep happiness. Yeah. And St. Francis, although he took a vow of poverty, did too. In the aesthetics, in the arts, in nature, in creation, he experienced that overwhelming joy, that happiness. How did we get so far from that? You know, in what we teach. He saw beauty everywhere. I think it was Bonaventure that said of him, he had a visionary way of looking at everyday life, and he often was enraptured by the splendor and loveliness of the created world. Just in awe. Just in awe. Remember last week, one of the characteristics of a mystic is that radical amazement, which I told you was my favorite out of the 6 we shared last week. A radical amazement, just being in awe of this thing called life. Yeah, that was the work of St. Francis. Reports of him having deep mystical rapture when he often heard sounds of music. Yeah, when he often heard sounds of music. Whether the music was being played by an angel, you know, maybe playing a viol, or light and sound waves, radical amazement was the way he operated. He heard beautiful melodies. There's lots of stories of him doing that. One where Francis was deep in meditation and he suddenly heard a lyre playing a melody, a stringed instrument, playing a melody. And he thought it was so beautiful that he had left the earth, that he had transcended, that he had left this plane of existence, and I assume he probably did. And the friars that were close to him said that he was never the same. They saw a difference in him after that experience. His creativity that he entertained was vast, and he was overflowing with all things creative, with all things aesthetic. Again, Julia Cameron says that creativity is the divine flowing through its creation, and it's our honor to return that. She said, when we remove the blocks, creativity flows. Because it's here, it's what we are, it's what we're made of, it's how we got here, that divine creative act, right? It's who we are, it's what we are. So St. Francis taught that creativity then came with humanity. It was part of us. It was part of who we are. And it was for us to use that, to use it for ourselves and to use it for other people. He found that within himself. Did you know, I didn't know this, and I've studied St. Francis. Maybe I forgot it. That happens too. But he was the first one to do a nativity scene. Did you know that about him? Yeah, he had the first live nativity scene. I mean, they all started because of him. And there was this cave, and he was really attracted to the cave, and he was thinking the experience of seeing Mary and Joseph and a baby, and having that experience of, the donkey and the whatever being there. Yeah, I mean, he was like, no, we need to experience this to understand it. All about that experience. That was 1223, after he had visited the site in Bethlehem. He also was one of the first, probably the first, that sang the gospel, that brought music into the celebration of the liturgy. Yeah. They said he was often bathed in tears and radiant with joy. And then there's another great little story that one of the young friars was having a really hard time with not giving in to temptation. I know that never happened to any of us, but he was having a really hard time. So he went to Francis and he said, please help me, pray with me, help me. And Francis sat and meditated with him for a moment and was really overcome by all these visions. And this is what came. He said to the young man, he said, bring me paper and ink. I want to write down these words that I'm getting this download. I'm getting the download. Give me a piece of paper and pencil. And here's in part what he wrote. You are love. You are wisdom. You are humility. You are endurance. You are rest. You are peace. You are joy and gladness. You are justice and moderation. You are all our riches. And you suffice for us. You suffice for us. It was said that this poem was like a prescription, a doctor's prescription, and there was an instant healing, and this young man was never tempted again. Amazing, huh? Yeah. So, right brain pursuits. Self-awareness is the second one, or the next, it's probably number 8. I'm not going to count that way. I'm going to count 1. First one this morning, right brain. Second one, self-awareness, having that ability to know who we are, maybe know that we have temptations, maybe know that there's things that we want to work on. I lose my temper, I want to work on that. I don't pay close enough attention to my beloveds when they're speaking to me. I want to be present. Whatever it is for you, it's that self-awareness, that self-understanding, that ability to want to do and be better, right? That. Self-love, though. An understanding that we're here for a divine purpose. Yeah. And then the third one is heart knowledge. That we give our heart that space to inform the head. Instead of this way, let's let our heart open in a way that informs the head, but not that they battle. They don't do battle. They work together. There's a harmony between head and heart that the mystics understand. Yeah. So we want to find ways to open our hearts. This music is a way that we open our hearts. There's stories. There's a story now of John of the Cross. There are really lots of stories when we're talking about mystics of John of the Cross. One of them, he had been, and this is kind of telling for mystics too, that being imprisoned, being not understood, and we'll get to that. But he was imprisoned, he was tortured as a heretic. And he had meditated long in his cell. He was meditating, connecting to the divine, deeply listening to that voice, listening to the heart, the wisdom of the heart. And he knew if he stayed there, he would die. He would die in that cell. And if he risked escape, he could be killed. So what would he do? What should he do? He could die either way. He listened to the wisdom of the heart. He escaped and was not caught. He listened to the wisdom of the heart. How often do we not listen to the wisdom of the heart and we stay imprisoned? Yeah, far too often, I assume. Yeah. Last week, I talked about Matthew Fox and the cosmic mass that he does, that he's been doing for centuries. I mean, just, it was phenomenal to experience. Last Tuesday night, I went to the Van Wezel with my good friend of 45 years, I think. And it was like a cosmic mass. It was the Almond Betts family revival. Man, it was so good. It was so good, and it was like that revival where you're never the same, where there's an awakening, where there's something that's happening that everybody's participating in, everybody is on their feet. This was decades. Michelle and I have shared decades of this music together, 45 years. Of hearing their dads play, and now we hear Devin and Dwayne and their friends doing their dad's music. Oh my God, it was a revival of the soul. It was no less than that. On our feet, singing, it was no less than that. The fourth quality of a mystic is the return to source. A return to source. And we can find that in so many ways, in ways that we would not think we would find the divine. Yeah? Kabir says, "O seekers, remember all distances are traversed by those who yearn to be near the source of their being." Yeah. To be near the source of their being. A place where we're fed, where we're deeply fed. Eckhart talked about this. He said, word and work are energized when it comes from within the true self, the deepest sense of who we are. Then we bring that to everything we do. To everything we do. When we know how to connect with it. And that is the true definition of religion. The definition of religion is to return to the source. To return to the source of being. Number 5, again, Kabir talked of this. He talked of being stricken with silence. So beautiful, the silence that we find in music. Am I not right? I'll look at the professional musician. That pregnant pause. That's what makes Santana Santana. Yeah? The pregnant pause, that space in his music that he so magically inserts. Oh, nothing like it, right? Nothing like it. And Matthew Fox is talking about mystics. He's not talking about Santana. He's not talking about Jay necessarily, or Bobby, or Dickie Betts, or Dwayne Allman, or, you know. He's not talking, but he talks about how that pause, that silence is an invitation. It's an invitation for the divine to get our attention, and it moves people. It moves people. Mike said that he spends time in silence. I know that he does. He's done that for decades as a meditator. It moves us. It moves us. And then the 6th, playful childishness, or childishness, playfulness, childish playfulness. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Childish playfulness, right? That ability to just be light on your feet and carefree. Oh my God, if you had seen me last Tuesday night at the Van Wezel. Michelle, you're silenced. No stories. That ability to be free, present and free, carefree, knowing that you're playing on the divine earth. You're playing with God's energy. What a beautiful, beautiful thing. What a beautiful thing. Then the seventh one, the last one I'm going to share this morning, prophetic, that mystics are in action. And we saw this in Francis. We saw this in Bonaventure. We saw this in Hildegard. Yeah. It's the one who interferes with injustices. The one that does not stand silent, but sees and intervenes, sees and puts their life to work for good, for the betterment of others. St. Francis was like the Buddha, was like Mahatma, was like Siddhartha, in that he was wealthy. He was born noble. He gave everything away. He gave everything away. And he found everything, right? And he gave everything away. He renounced his wealth because he saw what it did to those that did not have it. He was trying to level the playing field, maybe. Yeah? Very interesting stories come out of that. But he found God everywhere. He found God everywhere, in the animals, and the plants, and the trees. Everything became enlivened with the divine. I think we could call him the saint of recycling too. If there is such a thing, saint of recycling. We could name him the saint of recycling. But, his idea of denouncing greed and materialism, and his desire to go into the old church and rebuild the old church, and he was really about sustainability, what really feeds us, And then Hildegard. But I'm going to leave that for a moment. So what I want us to do is have an experience. I want us to have an experience. I guess I will tell you a little bit about her first. You all have a mandala. At 81, this Benedictine abbess, which is like Mother Superior, she was in charge of the convent, the nuns, was excommunicated. This is 11th century. She was excommunicated for a disagreement she had with the church. And so all the nuns were removed, but later they honored her. And the interesting piece was she was a real combiner, a mystic of the head and heart. That was part of who she was and what she did. It was the head and heart. And they said that she's the founder of what's known as scientific natural history. She was a writer of theology and basically plant medicine. Really into plant medicine. Yeah, botany and medicine. And she combined them, came up with lots of cures, and wrote lots of books about it. She lived with illness and pain, her own illness and pain. And she had visions from the time she was a child of healing and how to heal. And she had visions of mandalas, very intricate, very, very, very detailed. And then they spoke to her when she sat with them in meditation. And she would learn what the cures, what needed to happen from this time. Really amazing. She wrote 3 volumes of what they call visionary theology, visions of what she called the voice of the living light. The voice of the living light. Yeah, really something else. So these designs, in her interpretation, led her to a lot of healings. So I want us to have an experience of spiritual interpretation. She said that working with mandalas really was unity. It's how we found God. It's how we found God. And that the conscious mind was then released as we worked mandalas, and we could connect with the divine that way. Carl Jung said that mandalas are a representation of the unconscious self. Same way of kind of saying that. And interestingly, again, this is why I'm so happy that I follow thoughts. Thursday, and I decided to do this way before Thursday. Thursday's reading in the Science Mind magazine is a Vedic meditation. Wait, not that one first. Carl Jung. The mandala is an archetypal image whose occurrence is attested throughout the ages. It signifies the wholeness of the self. The circular image represents the wholeness of the psychic ground, or to put it into mythic terms, the divinity incarnate in humans. So let's have an experience of that, if you will. Hildegard taught that we can use a mandala for prayer and meditation. So I'm going to invite you.
What we would like for you to do is take the mandala and trace it with your finger. When we trace what attracts us in this beauty that we see in all forms, we shall find that it is the movement of beauty, the music. All forms of nature, the flowers so perfectly formed and colored, the planets and stars, the earth, all give the idea of harmony, of music. The whole of nature is breathing, not only living creatures, but all nature. It is only our tendency to compare that which seems more living with that which to us seems not so living, which makes us forget that all things and all beings are living one perfect life. And the sign of life that this living beauty gives is music.
You're invited to take these mandalas home, sit with them, really see it, feel what arises in you, what speaks to you, study it, find meaning in it. You can color it, feel what colors you choose and why you choose them, investigate, have self-awareness about that. What part inspires you? What doesn't? Why? You might find that ideas surface. I encourage you to use these mandalas as Hildegard used them. And she said, be like a feather on the breath of God. Be like a feather on the breath of God. This is what I affirm for each and every one of us, that we are indeed a feather on the breath of God. And as she went on to say, be ablaze with enthusiasm. And allow the live burning offering be you on the altar of the divine. What I know is that your way is made easy as you take this journey of the mystic. So it is. Jim. Yeah, as Jim's making his way up for the offering, I wanted to just quickly say that January 14th, Julie is doing a mandala workshop. Julie, one of our practitioners, and she's a 25-year art teacher. And she's been studying this for longer than that, even. And so the workshop is the second Sunday in January. It's entitled Mandalas for the New Year, Sacred Soul Symbols for Success.
Thank you so much, Reverend Theresa, Annie, Jay. Beautiful music and the message. Now it's time for our offering. This is a time of conscious giving. And as Reverend Theresa indicated early on, there's a reciprocal nature to life, the giving and us giving back to it. And this is our turn to give back to life from the blessings that we receive from it through our offerings of financial means. And for those of you listening at home, there's a banner that will be scrolling on the screen below that will tell you how you can give to this center as well. And I just invite you to go within now, and if you have your offering physically here with you, hold it in your hand. You could place it over your heart. If you're giving through automated banking, just bring that to your mind now and just know that this time of conscious giving, that this intention that we set is to go forth to bless this center and for all the people in the community that it touches, both here locally and abroad. I'm so grateful for this, and I'm so grateful for all of these financial blessings that are here given with this intention. And just know with me that this gift that I give goes forth to heal, to bless, and to prosper, and the divine flow returns it to me, multiplied abundantly. And so it is.
Thank you, Jim, and let's sing together. I receive the gift of life and pass it on. I receive the gift of love and pass it on. I receive the gift of joy and pass it on. I receive all good and pass it on. I receive the gift of life and pass it on. I receive the gift of love and pass it on. I receive the gift of joy and pass it on. I receive all good and pass it on.
Thank you so much. I have a few announcements for you. First of all, just remember the workshop that Julie Birch is going to be given, and Julie has also brought some of her books here. There's a few available, and they're on the table. It's called Peppermint Cocoa Christmas, and we suggest a love offering of perhaps $10, but they're there on the table for you, and first come, first serve, so please take advantage of those books from our own dear Julie. Also, we have a couple of classes coming up starting in January. One of them is being offered by our own Kathleen Frankert, another practitioner here at the center. Kathleen, if you want to raise your hand there. It is called Spiritual Principles and Practices. It's a 5-week class, and it starts on Tuesday, January the 9th. And more information is available on the table and also on our website and in our newsletter. There's also a class that is going to be started by our own Reverend Theresa, the Essential Earnest Homes. That's a wonderful 10-week class that gets you more into depth about Ernest's teachings. And so I highly recommend it. I took it as a practitioner in training. And so that starts on January the 10th, I believe. January 10th, and it is a 10-week class. And once again, information is available on the table, on our website, and in the newsletter. Also, for the newsletter, if you have not signed up already or not receiving the newsletter, please do so by filling out a form here on our table, or you can go to our website and get access to that as well. It comes out every Thursday morning, and it is chock full of information about what's going on at the center. Also, the Spiritual Living Circle occurs every Wednesday night. I facilitate that normally. This coming Wednesday, Kathleen Frankert is going to facilitate it for me. And then we will be skipping the week in between Christmas and New Year's and start back up again in January. That's a wonderful time where people can come together via Zoom. We have a wonderful group so far, and everyone is welcome to join. If you'd like to join, you can either contact me by the email that's in the newsletter, or you can see me after the service, and I'll be glad to give you more information about that. We do study an article from the Science of Mind magazine every week and have a wonderful discussion. Leads me to prayer. If you need prayer support, you can be supported and know that you're being held in positive affirmative prayer throughout the week. If you want to fill out a prayer request form on the table to my right and drop it in the basket. If you'd like to submit your request through an email address, prayer@cslculturalcoast.org. Or if you would like a brief time together with me this morning, I am the practitioner of the day. Just seek me out after the service, and I'll be glad to meet with you behind the screen to my right for a few minutes of positive affirmative prayer to support you in whatever you're requesting for this morning. And with that, I will turn it back over to Bobby for our closing song.
All right, thank you, Jim. Everybody, this is one of mine called Let It Shine, so please. Yes. One more time for Annie and Jerry. Amazing. Just brought me right back there. There's a light at the center of everyone. It can light up the world just like the sun. There's a flame within us that can light our way. It can burn away the darkness of a troubled day. Let it shine, let it shine. Wherever you see darkness, you've got to know that the light is within you. Everywhere you go, whatever you are facing, whatever's on your mind, you can help illuminate it. Let your light shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let your light shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let your light shine. One more time. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let your light shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let your light shine.